Hi, you. It's me, Nicole Phoenix Star, and this is a Nick Star podcast. It's been a huge week in the Starry household. Finally back to school, and Leo hasn't been at school. The last time he was at school was 74 days previous, and the reason for that is we left Bali in the middle of November, and there was only two weeks left of school for the school he was going to when we got to Australia. And therefore he had another extended school break. He also had 10 weeks school break in the middle of the year for his school in Bali, who start the school year in August and kind of follow the American system. So he's had many days off this year, and it was totally fine. We found this really cool groove of coexisting and me and moving countries and me working a hell of a lot in January. And he has a lot of online friends all around the world that he plays games with, and they got into this whole flying game where one would be the pilot and one would be the air traffic controller, and he learned a lot. It was really cool, actually. And you may or may not know, I have a history in air traffic control. In my 20s, I used to work in air traffic control, and I was an air traffic control student trainer. And I used to work in the simulator and train air traffic control students for many years. So there was a lot of Alpha Bravo Charlie, and he kept asking me different language, which was fun to revisit. So yeah, I have a very fascinating backstory, and one of my chapters was working for Air Services Australia, which own and run the airspace around Australia in their training unit. And yeah, I did a whole lot of interesting things with that. I lived in Adelaide for 3 years to transition Adelaide Airport into the control centre into Melbourne when all the airspace was consolidated out of 2 control centres, and it was a huge project in contract. And at the end of that, I had baby Ruby, and then we moved back to Melbourne, and I took some time off and then went back for a part-time contract and was back in the Melbourne training centre training air traffic control students that are currently now well and truly into their career. And I actually finished my contract when I was pregnant with Leo. And no, not Leo. Oh my God, Harley. He's 22 now. I was pregnant with Harley, and I finished my last contract in the Melbourne Control Centre. And when he was 4 months old, we moved to Queensland, and I was asked to go and work in the Brisbane Control Centre that controls the top half of Australia. But I took a whole other diversion out of that time and bought a beachside restaurant, a massive restaurant and started my business career. I guess that's not what I was going to talk about, but here we are. And yeah, had, I don't know, at one stage 30 staff, and it was a 140 seated restaurant and along the Esplanade and opposite the beach in Mooloolaba on the Sunshine Coast, where I am now. And yes, it was a huge, huge chapter and mission and learning, and I haven't had a job since. That was when I started working for myself, and after a few years got out of hospitality because you can imagine it was a hard slog. Yeah, fascinating. Anyways, so back on track. Leo went to school and he was so excited, just so excited to get some new friends and play with kids in real life. And he jumped off the bike and strutted into school and was really, really excited. And it's the first time that I was going to be home alone for quite some time. I got home and Ruby said, "I'm working from home today." And so that was funny. And fine. She was downstairs doing her job and I was spent most of the time upstairs. Although I did spend most of my time trying to work out the school bus because that was not clear on the websites that I visited. Anyway, I got it all sorted so that he could catch the bus because he was very, 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 very excited about catching the bus, which he did this morning. We had to ride to the bus stop and it's about a 5-6 minute ride away, the closest bus stop to us, and stood there and waited for the bus. And he just was so excited and jumped on and I waved him off. And he'll catch the bus home this afternoon as well. I did pick him up yesterday on the bike and I was in the school pickup line. I was the only motorbike, of course. And as I came to the teacher who was directing the pickup, she's like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest ride ever." I was like, yeah, we've never done this before. First time pick up at the school. And yeah, we were quite seen and picked him up and rode home. And it was so funny because, oh my gosh, so much traffic. But being on a bike, you can zip through the traffic very quickly and very efficiently. And that was super awesome to do that. Actually, a really funny story. After I dropped him off in the morning, I was going to the supermarket to pick up a few things. And again, so much traffic. And when I was in the supermarket, this guy came up to me and goes, "Geez, you handled that bike well." And I went, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I just saw you go past all the traffic on the way here." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You should get a Harley." And I went, "I don't need a Harley." And he goes, "What size engine is it?" I said, I think it's 160cc. And he goes, "Yeah, you need a Harley." I said, "No, actually, I need to go over and buy some apples," and just walked off. Oh, it was funny. So yeah, it's been a big shift in week. I've been super, super busy with all my wellness ladies who have been doing an extraordinary job. Oh my God, we've been getting the most epic results. I keep getting messages going, "I've never eaten this much food in my life and I keep losing weight." I'm like, yep, that's what happens. So everyone's kind of getting in the groove of things now and are all settled into getting around this little slightly different way of eating, which is not restrictive, clearly, and is extremely nourishing, incredibly nutrient dense, and low calorie, and just so much food, and makes you lose weight. And so many women that were really struggling with inflammation and bloating have all dramatically noticed a difference in their inflammation and bloating. And two of the women had kind of quite a lot of gut issues and have noticed a huge difference in their gut health. And yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. But they are, of course, and grateful. So, yes, it's been really wonderful now that everyone's established in their flow, and a couple of teachers back to work and working out their meal prep for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everyone singing the praises of meal prep and how it makes life easier, and how meal prep is such a cool thing to do. So, yeah. And this is the last week of the original container of TTT, the Traditional Tantric Teachings. A couple of days left of 5 years of this extraordinary journey. And on the weekend, we will step into the new container of the Awakened Realization State. Uncontainer is what we're calling it. The uncontainer, because it's essentially an uncontained state where calling it a container seems like an oxymoron. So yeah, it's been a really big, beautiful, profound, extraordinary week, and lots of emotions which have been felt deeply and fully. Leo was very excited about going to school, but he was also feeling a little bit nervous, I guess is a word. But again, he said to me, now I know that you can feel multiple emotions at once. I don't feel overwhelmed. And I think, gosh, it's so extraordinary for someone to learn that we can hold multiple emotions at once at the age of 11. And well, 11 in a few days. We had Leo's birthday, of course, as well. So that was fun. He's a funny kid. He didn't want any presents early. He wanted to start present opening at 10 and stagger it out during the day. He didn't want the same experience he had at his first Christmas, where you get this big kind of moment where you open all the presents at once. And he said, I just want to stagger it out so that it lasts all day. And I thought that was amazing and incredible. And yeah, it was very cool. I started back exercising properly this week after me almost chopping my thumb off a 2.5 weeks ago. I succeeded in my very efficient and rapid healing process, and I was able to lift weights without any pain or aggravation. So yeah, that is great. Getting back to investing my time now in my 50s so that my 70-year-old self will reap the benefits of that, because there's a big piece in what I do is for her. And while we are in these early stages of menopause, how our bodies navigate our way to postmenopause really, really matters and has a huge effect on things like Alzheimer's and dementia, as well as osteoporosis and many general health things. So yeah, I love lifting heavy weights and not jumping around doing crazy cardio crap stuff. I won't call it crap. That's inappropriate language. And I love feeling strong. I love having no aches and pains. And I love just having this level of health and fitness. So, yes. And I loved having my pizza and wine night for Leo's birthday last week, because I don't restrict myself because I don't need to, because I follow my formula, and being in my maintenance era, everything is possible. So, yeah, what else can I tell you? What else do I have to say? We are about to step into the second month of the year. January is such a weird month. Now that we're days away from February, it feels like it's gone really quickly, but it feels like 100 years ago since the 1st of January. And I have been extremely full in my days all month, and yeah, funny time thing. That funny time thing. Yes. Anyways, yeah. So the big focus now is getting all the preparation done to step into the uncontainer of the awakened realization state this weekend, and a year full of focusing on that. I cannot even imagine the human I'm going to be in 12 months' time. Can not even imagine, and will not even try, because my brain has no capacity to be able to even imagine that. So on that note, I shall complete this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate it. If you feel like anyone may benefit from this, please share this podcast episode, and all my things are on my website, www.nickstar.com, NIKSTARR. Love you. Bye.